Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak in today's debate because in the wake of COP27, many campaigners are concerned about the lack of significant progress internationally towards achieving both net zero and environmental targets. So today's debate is a welcome opportunity for the Scottish Government to set out what it hopes to see emerge from the upcoming coastal states negotiations. And there is much in the Government's motion which we support, including the need to improve opportunities for Scotland's fishing industry and to ensure sustainable management of fish stocks in the long term. But today's debate also allows us to assess the progress that we're making here in Scotland in delivering a more sustainable fishing industry. And as my colleague Colin Smith has already outlined, there is still much progress to be made by the Scottish Government. Scottish Labour's 5 tests have set out clear objectives around sustainability, fair quota distribution and support for socially, economically and environmentally beneficial fisheries. And I'd urge the Scottish Government to work towards achieving these, because for too long Scotland's seas have been in a state of decline. And this must be reversed. And while targets are missed and pledges remain unfulfilled, we will not deliver the marine recovery which is so vitally needed. But why is it so important that we reverse the decline of our seas and promote marine recovery? It's clearly important to the rural communities and coastal communities in Scotland who greatly rely on the fishing industry for jobs and their local economies. And by redistributing quotas, we can ensure that everyone in our coastal communities reap the benefits of our national resource. By tying quota access to fisheries that provide local, fair work, using low-impact measures, we can restore our marine environment while strengthening our coastal communities, all of which will contribute to repopulation and preservation of an important part of our cultural heritage. Can I get the time back?
I'm afraid there is no time in hand.
I'm sorry, I haven't got time. But if we fail to grasp the opportunity to use existing mechanisms like quotas to support Scottish fishers, it's these coastal communities which will pay the price for our political inaction. And just as Scotland's mining communities suffered serious economic hardship, which still scars us today, so the loss of fishing jobs and opportunities has been and will continue to be devastating for our coastal communities. But it's not just coastal communities who need to be concerned about the decline of our seas, it's all of us. Failure to address issues like quota allocation, support for more sustainable fishing methods and the landing of catches abroad will have impacts felt across Scotland. Whether it's the harm that certain fishing methods cause to our marine environment, or the loss of fish for food supplies, or the breakup of our coastal communities, the responsibility falls on all of us to ensure Scotland's fishing industry is supported and sustainable, because without such a fishing industry, we will not reverse the decline of Scotland's seas or deliver marine recovery. So, Presiding Officer, I've spoken of the need for Scotland to have a fishing industry which is both supported and sustainable. And there are a number of issues which I believe the Scottish Government must address to make this a reality. Scotland's fishers currently find themselves locked in competition due to the lack of spatial planning. Poor spatial planning is fatally undermining the future prospects of many fisheries and causing significant harm to the marine environment. The lack of planning means that poorly regulated scallop dredging is damaging marine habitats, while bottom trawling in concentrations of juvenile fish is leading to the killings of the next generation of fish stocks. So I would ask the Minister to address Marine Scotland's delivery of the 2015 National Marine Plan in her closing remarks. There is also a requirement under the National Marine Plan for regional marine plans to be developed, but as of yet, there doesn't seem to be a single such plan in place for any of Scotland's inshore waters. Without coherent regional marine planning, conflicts between fishers and other marine stakeholders will continue, hampering attempts to both protect the marine environment and to ensure the future prospects of many fisheries. So I'd ask the Minister to update the Chamber today on the progress being made towards delivering regional marine plans. And along with many other industries, inshore fisheries will have to transition to more sustainable practices in the wake of the climate and nature crises. Whether it's adopting lower impact fishing gears or growing competition for space due to highly protected marine areas, there will be costs to this transition, which for many inshore fisheries will be prohibitive. So I hope the Minister will be able to provide some detail on what conditions will be attached to any financial support the Scottish Government will make available, because public funds must be tied to local job creation, to fair work principles and to sustainable practices. So to conclude, Presiding Officer, we need to halt and reverse biodiversity loss, and we need to do this in a way which protects and increases employment opportunities in the sector, both of which we can do because since the UK left the Common Fisheries Policy, the Scottish Government has assumed full responsibility for the management of Scotland's fisheries. So by addressing the issues which I've outlined today, I believe the Scottish Government can support the fishing industry into a sustainable and long-term future, because the alternative is economic hardship for many communities across Scotland and further damage to our marine environment, which nobody in this Parliament wants to see.